What's up guys, Ryan here from Mud Gunner. Today I have something pretty cool to show you. So I talked about in a previous video that I ordered something and it came in today. So I got Larry Vickers' book on the AR-15. So I got volume 1 here and I got volume 2. And these are some massive books. Like each one weighs 10-ish pounds or just over 10 pounds and they're each about 600 pages long. And they are pretty cool. I skimmed through all 1,200-ish pages today, just quickly glancing and looking at some iconic stuff. But I wanted to kind of give you guys my first impression of it because this is the only gun book I've ever bought. I've never actually bought any gun books. A coworker of mine let me borrow one this week, but it's kind of just a general guns of the world. So it vaguely talks about each gun, but it doesn't go into detail. Both of these books go into pretty good detail about certain guns. So volume 2 here is the one I was more interested in. This is basically GWOT guns, so Global War on Terror guns. This one has a lot more of kind of what I'm into, but volume 1 is like the conception of the AR-15 and how it started, what it became. And even though it's not necessarily my exact cup of tea, it is still very cool. I don't know all the ins and outs of like pre-2000s AR-15s, like maybe 90s because that's still like somewhat newer ARs, but all those early like 60s, 70s, and 80s guns, like there's so much like knowledge in here that I knew nothing about. And there's a lot of prototypes that I've never even heard of. So if you're gonna do these, well, one, I mainly wanted the second one, but I just figured I might as well order both. And I actually checked today and I think it's volume 1 is sold out. There's still a couple signed copies of volume 2. And yeah, I'm glad I got them and they're pretty cool. I'm very excited to learn from them. I'm gonna show you guys a couple pages from each book, but I'm not gonna show you every page. I think that'd be a little disrespectful to, just give out all the information there, but I thought it'd be kind of cool to show you guys some of my guns and how they kind of relate to the book. Now, one thing I will mention about book 2, I thought there would be a little bit more of like Mark 18s, M4A1s, stuff around that time frame, but there's actually not as much as I thought. I think I want to give you guys just a quick over-the-shoulder view of what these books look like and what you could expect from them. So let me grab my camera. I'll show you guys a quick glimpse of volume 1 real fast. And both of these are the second editions. I guess the first edition of each book was in like the 300 page range, but on both of the second editions, they're in the 600 page range. And I'll show you guys the cover. It's super cool. It's tiger stripe camo. And yeah, we'll just do a quick glimpse of what's in here. So as far as the contents goes, you have early Armalite prototypes, serial number 1 through 27, just a good amount in there. And then early production Colt variants, M16 variants, foreign licensed products, so guns that were licensed in other countries, the CAR-15, all the 600 and 700 series M16A2s, carbines and submachine guns, and then just some civilian ones. So this book is a lot of just older guns, and here's a lot of the early model Armalites, which are pretty cool. But yeah, that's serial number 1 of the Armalite AR-15, which is pretty cool. And we'll just kind of quickly go through. This is the Colt, what is this? This is the Colt gold-plated presentation model, which is insane. And I've noticed this book doesn't have everything. So like, I know stuff just from working at the gun store I work at. I've seen a Colt Guard rifle, which is like a 20-inch nickel Colt from the factory, which is pretty crazy. And I don't see that in this book, but there's tons of information, tons of quality pictures. So even though it's 600 pages, you're not getting 600 pages of just words. Like you get some big pictures like this. But I really like kind of showing the breakdown of all the different models. And yeah, I know I'm going to learn a lot from this book, but again, this is not my specialty or necessarily my main focus with ARs, but you get a lot of cool knowledge with this. I would say the second book is more my favorite one of the two as of right now. But yeah, just wanted to show you guys this. So kind of leave that with volume 1. Let's grab volume 2. So we got volume 2 here, and I like the camo on this one. So we'll go to the table of contents real fast. So this kind of takes place after the first book. So you have Into the Modern Era, M4A1s, M16A4s. Now it doesn't show like a lot of modern builds. It mostly shows guns. So it does have a little bit of clones in here, but for the most part, it's a lot of just the gun itself, not necessarily all the attachments for it. But we'll kind of get into that. So we have a lot of early model stuff. GWAT reproductions. So this is kind of where I was hoping for more clones, but there's not too much. And I'll show you guys that in a sec. You have a lot of SR25s, which for me was really cool. And I'll explain why in a sec, because I have my SR25 right here, which is pretty special. But yeah, you have like 70 pages on the SR25 and a bunch of other 308s. You have Colt Canada, you have piston guns, and there's some odd piston guns in there. And then we have military prototypes like the SCAR submission, which I was hoping for a little bit more FN SCAR, but there's just one page on it. And then limited production Colts, but it's still a lot of Colts. There's not really a section on Daniel Defense or URGI or like Block 2, Block 1 stuff. It's mainly just like some of the earlier stuff from what I noticed. So let me show you guys one that really stuck out to me. Oh, there's an M4A1. So I think it was 173 is where I need to go to. All right, here, let me show you the GWAT guns real fast, because there's not much. And again, I'm gonna go fast because I don't want to give away too much from this book, but you got a little bit of the older accessories, but it doesn't go deep into all of these. So you basically get one gun there, Operation Iraqi Freedom. So you got a single M4A1 there, and then there's like a single Mark 18. But that's it. It doesn't really touch on it at all after this. So I was hoping for a little bit more of the clones, but I understand they can't put it all in here. Having a book like this makes me want to have a book on like the entire GWAT era, or maybe just 1990s to 2020. And I don't just mean ARs, I mean SCARs, Barrett M82s, all the bolt action sniper rifles, all the modern AR-15 builds, and like a variety of how they would be set up. I think that would be another cool book to add to the collection. If you guys know anyone that does books like that, I'd be interested in knowing, because I think it'd be cool to see 10 different Mark 18 setups, believe it or not. Like, I know they all blend together after a while, but it'd be cool to see a Mark 18 with every different optic they do, all the different suppressors. That's kind of what I'm into right now. But let me show you real fast before I get too far off track here. So the SR25. What's cool with this book is they have Eugene Stoner with his personal SR25, and it shows his serial number and what his was. So this is his personal one, and his serial number is 21,304. And then it also shows serial number 2015, which belonged to Lieutenant Colonel David Lutz. And yeah, this was his personal gun. It was made in 1993, and it was the 15th off the line. So his serial number is 20,015. And it just so happens that my serial number is 20,070. And what's interesting with mine versus this one, I know mine looks a little bit more modern, but I have the original handguard for this gun. I actually have the suppressor on the way for this gun. And this book talks about the suppressor, but it does not show it. So it's a big over-the-barrel suppressor. Sorry, I'm bumping the camera. It's a big over-the-barrel suppressor that screws on right here. And I submitted the tax stamp for it back in November. So I will have that on the channel here soon. But what's cool is our serial numbers are only 55 digits off. But I have this handguard, it's actually right here. So I have this handguard, I don't have the stock, but that is easily sourceable. And that's an old night vision scope. They showed one with a Leopold on it, or that Leopold Mark IV. I'm looking for the 3.5 to 10 power for mine, but mine currently has an 8.5 to 25 Mark IV. But I think it'd be really cool to have all the kind of SR25 suppress packages. So I have one from 1993 with the serial number matching suppressor. It'd be cool to get a Mark 11 with the suppressor and then a M110 with the suppressor. So this is a big section on SR25s and 308s in general. So here's the M110. It also has like the Mark 11 in here, but that's a really cool picture of the M110. But yeah, like this is really cool information to me. But it doesn't show the old school suppressor for that. This one is like the closest it gets because it still has this handguard, but that is a clamp-on suppressor, not a screw-on suppressor. So mine is older than this gun right here. And mine is older than Eugene Stoner's personal rifle because his is 21,000 and mine is 20,000. So I just think that's cool, and that's one of the big reasons why I bought this book specifically, is I knew it had a good section on SR25s, which really interested me. So yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a quick rundown of this and just show you, like, I'm really excited to have this book in my collection. It's got piston rifles, just a variety of stuff, but again, that's one on my list too, but those are expensive. Let me know what you guys thought of that. I think these books are pretty cool. Again, I'm super excited to have them in my collection because I don't have any gun books. And if you're looking to order them, I would act fast because the second edition book, he only had a couple left on the website today when I looked, and there was no more of the first edition. So if you're wondering what the price was, the unsigned first edition was $129. He did not have an unsigned second edition. He only had the signed copy, and that one was $159. So you pay an extra 30 bucks, and signature's okay. It's just LAV. Yeah, the signed copy was an extra 30 bucks. I would have been okay with or without the signed copy, but honestly, I don't mind having it. And I know that's a lot of money for a book, but if you think about how much you're getting for that price, I mean, those are really quality pictures. It took a lot of time and energy to create a book with this much knowledge and detailed pictures in it. So I appreciate him for doing that. And yeah, again, I'm super excited to kind of like build this up. And it was really cool to see a couple pages dedicated to just this gun. But it's also interesting that in those couple pages, they talk about the suppressor. They don't say what model it is, but again, I have the suppressor coming for this. I've talked about it in a couple other videos. Again, I submitted the tax stamp in November, so I'm really hoping it clears somewhat quickly. But yeah, this is a 1993 SR25, and I have the serial number matching suppressor. And I think my goal right now is to have this one suppressed, somehow find a Mark 11 suppressed, and then eventually get an M110 suppressed. So I know that's a lot of money worth of SR25s. It'd be really cool to have the suppressed 90s era of SR25, the early 2000s suppressed era, and then the modern era of suppressed SR25s. And yeah, I think I can make it happen. I know it's gonna just be some time and patience, but we'll get there. And if you guys know a good book on literally just clones, so I look at clonerifles.com, but it doesn't get updated very often, or hasn't been updated in quite a while. But I really like doing this stuff right now. I'm actually building like a few Mark 18s, a few M4A1s. It's just kind of like my hobby. Like some people like watching birds, I like building clone guns right now. And I got this one the other day. This is a Colt. It's kind of interesting. So it's an AR-15 A2, but it's got an A1 upper, but it's from the factory this way. So this is their Sporter 2. And in one of these books, it looks like the Canadian C7. The C7 is like a A2. It's got the heavy barrel with the bayonet lug with this handguard, but it's got an A1 upper. So even though this isn't a Canadian gun, this is kind of a Canadian C7 clone based off that book. Now I know there's going to be a lot of differences, but yeah, now I have a C7 clone, and that book kind of showed me what this was. So I thought that was cool. This is kind of one of my fancier Colts. This is law enforcement carbine, but one of the last 100 roll mark law enforcement carbines, and I have the paperwork to prove it. So it came in a box that was stamped last 100 LE Colts, which is pretty cool, and I got the paperwork on it. And yeah, so I got old style Colts and new style stuff. So again, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I kind of a nerd with this stuff, but these books are going to make me bigger nerds, so I'm excited about that. So stay tuned for my next video.